Hearken not hearing the noisen of the curly-pubed ones. Oh, my joy. The door ain't banging, the oven isn't clattering, trays aren't being thrown everywhere, pots and pans aren't all over the shop. Oh, it's joyful. I'm thinking of scrapping the curly cooks. What do you say? What do you think? Should we scrap it? I tell you what, it's peace and quiet in here right now. It's really nice. It's really nice. Good morning, everyone. If you're listening on podcast, I haven't got a freaking clue what I'm talking about. The Curly Cooks is a cookery show that often lands after this, and it's not landing today because there is a fundraiser for Palestine tonight. The link for with which is on the community tab as a standalone link, and it is also under many of the lives and uploads that went up this week. Naz is upstairs doing this. She's not pregnant. She's just doing the oval breathing. Does anyone know what the oval breathing is? I think I illustrated it, didn't I? I illustrated it quite well in Coffee Moaning this week. God, Wendy Stewart, Mark, can we have some fun today after the hard week? It's actually has it been a hard week with news? Has it been a hard week with news? I mean, there's always the hard news of the war, which is obviously there in it's actually, of all the days, it's the least kind of harsh news, so I think we might be able to get there. I got my tickets for Come Dine With Me for Palestine featuring Rahila and the Curly Cooks. So excited. Ramona, you are gonna have some fun tonight, I'm telling you that right now. Tasty food, my favorite food, masakan, red chicken. Does anyone else remember when it's okay? I need to find someone who knows these. Does anyone remember? You have to be about my age. State school, primary school, London. The Pirates reading books. You had the red pirate, you had the green pirate, and you had the blue pirate. And I think it was rubies, emeralds, and sapphires. I saw the story. Zoe was Nadia, well, she was. She did go to hospital after this. Isn't it funny? The news is like a week late. Happened a week ago, and all is good. Do not worry about our eyes. All is good. Do you remember them, Leo? That's how I learnt to read, and I remember I lied that I could read because I just loved the pictures. Do you, Leo? Could someone find a photo of them and send them to me? You remember them, James Market? May Edmondson, no, but I remember the Rainbow Fairy books. My daughter Fleur was addicted to the Rainbow Fairy books. In fact, I virtually became a Rainbow Fairy. It was so sweet. And without an E, I bought a ticket, but I won't be able to watch along. Anyone know if it will be uploaded to watch later? That is a good question. I do think, but I will check, I will find out, and I will remind them. Dina, I don't know if you're in the room right now. I'm hoping and I'm thinking you can record Zooms. So you never know. It might be recorded, which would be lovely, wouldn't it? Good photographic memory, Lynn J. Yeah, I think so. So anyway, look, here's the thing. So look, we are going to move. I hear what you're saying. I think, was it Ramon? I hear what you're saying. We want a breezy news. We've got the great thing about the Saturday papers is we always end up at the Daily Star. We always end up at a silly place, talking about bald men being attractive and things like that. Yeah. But we are going to touch upon the front pages of them just briefly so that we've all we're across what they're across. And I'm going to lead with The Guardian because we're sort of in this strange, there is no pause to what is happening in Gaza. No pause at all. And that is why the fundraiser tonight is so important. Famine is near. Is there in parts. More and more videos of just untoward behavior by the IDF is coming out. And Netanyahu, who's rejected the ceasefire deal, or the ceasefire terms that were offered up by Hamas this week, he's wanting to go into Rafah. Now, if you don't know Rafah, the thing about this, it's a horribly simplistic illustration of what's going on is imagine. I haven't got an item here that's the right sort of shape, but in a weird way. Check out our really odd remote. It's an Apple remote, which they make really small, so you lose them, and we attach it. So Rafah, that's the palace. That's Gaza. Okay, and they've gone in and they've attacked, and they've basically flattened everything. Go, escape, Palestinians, escape. And so the Palestinians Gazans are all running, have fled as best as possible down here. Obviously, some haven't moved and some have gone back up, and they're down here. And a little bit like, squeezing and squeezing and squeezing down. Now Netanyahu says, now we want to attack here. And so he said, get all the civilians to safety. Now, the question here is less, how do they do that? Can they do that? Where do they go? They've got nowhere to go. I know a lot of people have the smart ass comment of just go to Egypt. The problem is if they leave, they can't get back in because they're not in control of the border. And the surrounding countries could also be knocked into massive structural insecurity if they take more. Just both, Jordan, for example, already has approximately 3 million Palestinian refugees, cumulatively over time. So squeeze down. Now go somewhere safe. Where'd you go? Because it can't go down. The sea's there. Israel's. Oh, right. Do we go back up to nothing? So the question mark's going to be for the International Court of Justice: is Netanyahu saying to his army, make sure you tell them to get to a safe place? Is that sufficient? Is that sufficient? Is saying it enough for him to circumnavigate the worry that the ICJ, presumably, when was the ICJ announcement? They said they had a month, didn't they? So we're probably about 2 weeks away, aren't we, from the next from Israel dropping off all their homework. I mean, I'm not making light of this, but sometimes, unless one takes a slightly kind of piss-takey approach to it, one can't get to the truth of it. So Israel has to deliver its homework on time, proving that it hasn't or isn't engaged in genocidal acts. And the question I want to ask is a man who's verbally expressed his desire to not have a two-state solution, nor have Gaza, him saying, make sure you get people out of there safely, is that enough? Is that enough? Especially when, wherever they're told to go to, which is a so-called safe place, they get shot. There's really quite dramatic and disturbing footage of a nurse, an A&E nurse, sniped through a window in a hospital. And you see him hit in the chest, and you see what's awful about the clip is you see the progress of, how if you get an injury, often you're not aware that you've got it, so you can carry on, and then you start to kind of, obviously you either bleed out or it's hit and you see him stagger, and they put him on a bed, and it's just awful. It's just awful. MeTube, if you leave the people with no infrastructure and essential services, you're engineering their deaths at genocide. Yeah. What I think we have to remind ourselves here is, though a lot of their behavior suggests a total lack of humanity, especially when you look at a lot of the social media posts of IDF soldiers, they're not stupid. They're not stupid. They're not so stupid that they're not going to try and tick the right boxes and say some of the right things in order to try and get round the International Court of Justice's fear or sense that there is a plausible case for genocide. And this seems to have been forgotten by lots and lots of people in this country. The ICJ said that there is a plausible case for genocide to be happening. Plausible case, which suggests that, and they quoted genocidal statements and genocidal consequences. So this isn't, how they've spun this, or how the West is still kind of managing to kind of bury their head in the sand and pretend the G word didn't come up in a negative fashion is slightly worrying. So there is, whilst it's constantly ongoing, there is a sense in the global community of, how is Netanyahu going to do this? So America, UK, I think, we're gonna use all those really sort of ineffective words like show restraint, show caution, respect civilians, all of which are total gobbledygook and meaningless when you've seen that hasn't happened at all yet. It's like saying to a domestic abuser, it's like walking into a house when someone has systematically been abusing someone for years, they're in the middle of a fight, and then saying to the abuser in that fight, in that room at that point, as you leave, make sure you don't do it again, and then leave. So anyway, so that's the front of the Guardian. Bloodbath fears as Israel prepares to invade Rafah. I mean, of course, and the hope here is that by all of these kind of headlines and fears and worries, that it prevents it. Israel readies for assault on Rafah despite US alarm. Not alarmed enough to not still be an ally and actually, basically be responsible for all the weaponry that's going to go into Rafah. But the other big story in the week, moving on from that for now, is Joe Biden. Can I ask you all, how do you feel about Joe Biden? You must have seen the clips. I saw a vulnerable old man when he was talking about his son who died. And he was called an elderly, well-meaning old man. How do you all feel about him? Does the fact of his seat of power, his position, his responsibilities, is that enough to just remove any human compassion? Because I think you can have the two things. I think you can have compassion for the man, and then you can have absolute outrage and fear and disbelief that that nothing's going to happen about it. So this is the idea that, obviously he's been described as mentally unfit. Front of the Financial Times. Democrats rally around Biden as party reels from the special counsel's report on him holding back vital documents. I mean, really, the story of whether he held on to these documents has kind of faded. The point here is, what they've essentially said is, he's too unfit to be tried or go through court. Presumably, wouldn't that make him too unfit to be president? You can't be unfit. How can you be unfit for one thing but fit for the other? When I would have thought almost being president is slightly more complicated than sitting in front of a jury telling them you haven't done anything wrong, right? So Democrats are rallying around him. There's obviously no one else there that they've got. I felt sorry for him. Yeah, I felt sorry for him. On a humanistic level, felt sorry for him. This is a man who needs to be removed tenderly, sensitively, and looked after by his family, I feel. Here's all the headlines. Biden memory lapses open the door for Trump. I mean, Sleepy Joe, Creepy Joe. He's been Sleepy Joe, he's been a Creepy Joe, and now he's a Mr. Forgetful Joe. He doesn't know where he's going. What about Kamala Harris? It's the biggest question in the House. Even Democrats fear president is not up to running for re-election. Diplomats downplay Biden's memory. I mean, you could not make this up. Now, don't get me wrong. I know lots of people, phoning radio stations go, he's responsible for the button. He could press that. However much a president might have the code and the book and the button and the box, he has got a whole host of other people around him. I always imagine sometimes that box, let's imagine a sort of red briefcase with an enormous red button that goes, kill everyone, is that around that box, which is off, they say is attached to his hand, isn't it? Especially when there are alien invasions. You always see the president's always kind of like running through a back door, aren't they? There's a pillar falls over and there's a kind of, the things attached to their arm. I mean, my vision of things when there isn't an alien invasion and they're all calmly around the table, and there's no one's talking about it, no one's looking at it. Imagine being a sort of work experience that day. That's the case. And you're like, what, that one? That's the case. What with the big button? Yeah, kill everyone button. You're like, I imagine and I hope that if Biden was there and I don't know, and he was like, oh my God, I've just completely forgotten. Maybe I left my phone in the case. And as he does that, everyone in the room is trained to leap into action and intercept him and go, are you sure, Sleepy Joe? Are you sure you want to do this? But maybe not. I don't know. So I think it's extraordinarily concerning. And here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Hi, Reese. Apparently the DNC can swap out a Democrat candidate for another, so Biden could be swapped out, and it might really be needed considering the low polls. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Get someone in who could win. Here's the thing. The memory situation, and let's not forget in his speech where he pushed back against this report and this suggestion of his infirmity, he then mistakenly called the president or prime minister the head of Egypt, the head of Mexico. I mean, it's just not good, is it? It's not good. The US Constitution allows for the president to be removed if they think the president is about to trigger nuclear war. There you go. You see, get him out of the room. Get the box off him. Biden is now making Trump look really, really esoteric. That's the problem. We've got a real problem here. Now, Biden feels like Trump now looks like a sort of well-read literati. He looks like he's informed. It seems like he's got even a vague understanding, which many American leaders haven't, of the map of the world. It never ceases to amaze me how many people in American high up go, well, where is that? So now Trump seems erudite and intellectual and nuanced. I mean, I wouldn't be at all surprised if I bumped into Trump at the moment, I don't know, at the Everyman Cinema in Hampstead or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Sleepy Joe, I've come to see Poor Things. I hear Emma Stone is great. I'm a real fan of Emma Stone and Yorgos Lanthimos. I'd love to hear him say Yorgos Lanthimos. Okay, so yeah, I'm with you, Reese. I just sincerely hope that they just bring someone else in. Chemical fiend jumped from Chelsea Bridge, though they don't really know that for sure, do they? This is the most CCTV'd man that hasn't been caught in history, apparently with a third most monitored or surveilled. I love that. With a third most surveilled country in the world. And so I feel like we've watched this man, and I'm not making light of the appalling attack and the terrible condition of the woman and the children, because it's just awful. But my God, I mean, in fact, I think some of the footage is of him in front of New Scotland Yard, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, this is the assumption now that he's possibly gone into the Thames or jumped from Chelsea Bridge. I mean, I read a report or heard a report where someone was saying that the material may have been so sort of alkaline, I think it was an alkali, wasn't it, that it was continuing to burn into his head, which, if you imagine that potential agony, you would maybe you would throw yourself off something. I don't know. You've kind of got nothing to lose there. You'd kind of hand yourself in, though, wouldn't you? I don't know. Then he was seen in Newcastle. Possibly. It's not good enough, Tamika. Thank you. Possibly isn't good enough. No, you're absolutely right. I just wanted to show you this. Oh, God. Reese, I've never known someone be able to so continuously evade the police in London. I mean, it's quite astonishing, isn't it? I mean, this is the biggest thing, before we get on to Keir and his wife. The biggest part of this, which I'm not making light of the story at all, but again, sometimes through the nervousness of laughter, you can get to the truth of something. He has possibly the most identifiably recognizable facial feature. You know, when you do your photo for the passport and they say any noticeable features, and you sort of always turn to someone closer to you and you say, is my one nostril larger than the other? Do I need to mention that? And they go, don't be ridiculous. And then you send it off and they send you a letter back going, you're lopsided. But he looked like a cyborg. I mean, we couldn't have had a more telling piece of evidence. I mean, if this was a drama and he was wandering around as much as he was and he hadn't been caught, we'd all be sat at home going, oh, this is unbelievable now. This is ridiculous. How have they not got him? Do you know what I mean? Okay, let's go to this. Let's start to make ourselves feel a bit sick. Let's look at the leader of the opposition, Labour Party. I don't mean that in a personal way. I just mean in terms of his values, because this is pretense. Let's not beat around the bush. Unfortunately, this looks like I can't believe I'm saying unfortunately. There would have been a time where I'd have said fortunately. But this is and just dragging us back just for a moment, this is the strength and the significance of what has happened in Israel and Gaza. I can't ever return to this guy again. He has disproved his so-called human rights pedigree and criteria through his toothless and ineffective inability to be in any way humane or just unspeakable. Anyway, this is a story where basically what's going to happen here now is the press is going to try and woo us with a sort of more human. This is like the moment that Neil Kinnock ran along the beach and fell over, which made me love him. I thought, brilliant. I was a kid. I remember thinking, we need a leader. We need a leader who falls in the sea and gives us the ick. That's real. Neil Kinnock, he was the prime minister we never had and should have had. He was a good good egg. He still is a good egg. So this is. So what we're getting now is we're getting the shoe in. This is going to be the first lady. Oh yeah, all this kind of. He's totally complicit. Totally complicit. Stuff human rights. I mean, 7 days to row back on a statement that Israel had the right to turn off water. You're a human rights lawyer. 7 days. That doesn't mean you knew immediately that you'd said something wrong. No integrity whatsoever. And in so many other aspects, all he's doing is like, what do we do to get power? Not what are the ideal. And I disagree. So many people, like James O'Brien was going, really? More and more people are saying they're not going to vote at all. Is this right? I respect the opinion. Someone said under the live yesterday, but the suffragettes for, it's a really strong argument and an important and emotional argument about the suffragettes. They did fight for the right to vote. But I would almost, having, I don't know, Mum, if you would agree, as a radical feminist of the 70s, what they fought for, yes, they did. They deserved and demanded the equality of the right to vote. But that's different to the efficacy of the vote they fought to vote with. So now everyone can also not. It's something they fought for, which was right, which was about equality. But I don't think it necessarily then meets up to the idea that if you don't vote now, you're somehow pissing on the memory of those people. What we actually need to do now is think of something else, because the meaning of a vote has become totally devalued. The very thing the suffragettes were fighting for has become utterly devalued. And I think that's more significant. And this guy is part of that fucking process. Anyway, who does he think he is? This is a really sort of warm, kind of fuzzy little kind of story about how when he first met his wife, and she was like, oh, who does he think he is, when he asked her for something about something. And it's like, you can imagine how they'll have sort of chatted and and that's what she's like. He said that she's tough. She's tough, and she asked those sorts of questions. Oh, good. Well, maybe she should have asked you why you said what you said about turning the taps off. That would be really important. Now, this getting into the lighter news now. Ant and Dec. Ant McPartlin's going to be a dad at 48. Now, I'm very pleased for him. This is really sweet. This is, a nice story, front of the sun. But at the age of 53, all I thought when I saw this was, oh, God, how exhausting. It's terrible. It's like Christos when, one is so, you're not as old as this, of course, but one is always so happy when people are having kids and everything. But when you've had 4, or when you're our age, I saw this and I went, oh my God, how utterly exhausting at 48. So this is Ant McPartlin has told TV Pals he's going to be a first-time dad with his wife, or his partner, Anne-Marie. I think that's nice news. What fab dad, pass on his forehead. What does that mean? Pass on his forehead. What, like, to the child? Yeah. Oh, can I just say, that coffee was salty but delicious. Here we go. The press, because old Hazza managed to, give Piers Morgan a bit of a bloody nose yesterday. Not literally, but the Mirror anyway. The energy going to be challenged. You better get in all his fitness gym time now. You're damn right, Reese. Absolutely. Hate it how they have to mention people's ages, though. Laura S. Absolutely. Good point. Yeah. Cloda. Oh, great news. He looks so happy. He looks a bit perplexed, actually, in the headline. Anyway, this is the story. Obviously, everyone wanted to make something of. What a joker. What a joker. Doesn't really work, this puntastic one, does it? What a joker is the pun, but what a joker. What you have to do to make air, doesn't really work, does it? But of course, what they're trying to say here is, they're trying to say, what a poo bag. What about Tanya Barlett? You love Piers Morgan's. What about trouncing the gay? It was clever. It was a neat switch round. But unfortunately, Piers Morgan said something along the lines of, if I agree with him, there should be less trolling and nagging and pulling down of the royal family in public. And he was sort of saying that's essentially what Harry's done, which is kind of witty. But at the same time, just admit that that's what you've done too, Piers. That'd be nice. Just got to take away the salty guys. Anyway, what they're trying to say here is, what a stooge. What a numpty. Look, he flew over to the UK. They're trying to kind of park the idea that nothing that he felt when he came to the UK to see his dad was serious or real, and how he can now go back and he can make a joke of things, make a lot. I mean, basically, I was more interested in what his joke was. Do you want to know what his joke was? It's a classic. I mean, I've trotted it out when I was an absolute moron. It was something along the lines of, what was it? You stole rugby from us, about the American football. And then he said, instead of throwing the ball backwards, you just pass it forwards. I think it's an all right joke. I know Piers Morgan's a YouTuber. Maybe we should try and do a hookup. It's called a hookup. I'd like to do a hookup with Piers. I'd like to have a chat. I would like to have a chat with Piers. The funny thing about Piers is when he gets on your topic and it's your topic, there's no greater person to have on your topic. I mean, I've heard him a few times on aspects of, not all, the Israel Gaza thing, and you're like, whoa, when Piers is gunning and he's on your side, he's on no one's side but his own. It's great. But anyway, poor old Hazza. Poor old Hazza. They just want him, don't they? There you go. There's him. Anyone watching One Day? We read the book. I've got concerns. I'd like to, but I don't know why. The photos look a bit too cutesy for me. The book's great. I seem to remember many years ago, Mum, you hated it. Nanny Di hated it. She thought it was twee. But I seem to remember it's all about the media and all that kind of... I don't know. Me and Nads really enjoyed it. So it's a Netflix remake. Is it a series? Anyway, I love this actress. The young actress is... what's her name? Ambika Mod. She was sensational, wasn't she, in This Is Going to Hurt? Has anyone seen it? Seen a few episodes? It's quite... Is it, Reese? It's quite decent. Okay. You're at episode 10, Vicky Waiting. Me too. Morgan was on the right side. There's a bit of a float around on the stories here, so apologies if I'm back referencing. Just finished watching this Fiona East, and did you like it? What did you think? Whoever wrote a speech, yeah. I don't know. There's something about it. Okay, well, I'll give it a go if you think we should give it a go. I wanted to just carry on talking about. Oh, hang on. Bad news for Valentine's. 6-year itch. The 6-year itch. Couples stop giving Valentine's Day gifts or cards at the 6-year mark on average. What should I do for Nads? Should I do something rude or should I do something romantic? Haven't decided yet. Okay, let's move on. This guy is everywhere. I mean, why are people travelling across the world and queuing for hours to eat a £5 baked potato from a van? I realise now why there's a little bit... Edward Bevington card sales are down. Is that because people are... It was funny, actually, a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember who it was. Someone said, in fact, doing an Insta reel or something like that for something on social media, a little film, is requires so much more thought and effort and creativity, actually, than just writing a card. Sometimes you can just write a card, can't you? Sometimes I wonder, why do you write a card when all you put in it, you go, Merry Christmas, thanks. That's why we give you nice little personalised little messages in Apple, for God. This is the Spudman again, but a detail in his story, which I didn't realise before, is that he's had a number of kidney transplants, or he's needed kidney transplants. He's on dialysis. So he has a really compelling personal story. But this is Tom Parker Bowles. He is Camilla's son, right? I guess. He's turned up, and you can just see at the top of the shot there, look, there's the queue. I have to confess, every time they talk about the queue, they then show a shot, and it's not a massive queue, but he sells this. Get this. He sells something like, is it 700 a day? 700 to 800 a day. He sells spuds. I feel like we need to go there. I feel like we need to go to the Midlands is where I was born. The Midlands is my home. Anyone here a Super Bowl fan? Let's go back to harking back just quickly. There's going to be a lot of action on Sunday because, well, it's weird. Any movie fans here? Reese, guys, anyone here? Lots of the kind of trailers seem to be landing prior to the Super Bowl. Anyway, big chat is there could be the Joker 2 trailer could be landing on. It's going to be a biggie. It's going to be a Joker 2. It's going to be full of psychopaths. I'm going to feel so at home. It's going to be wonderful. Anyway, so obviously Super Bowl is on Sunday night. I don't know. It's the Americana. I know. Look, it's also contradictory, isn't it? It's Americana. We don't like America's policy in the year, but there are bits of every culture that we like, right? Super Bowl trailers. Yeah, it's so exciting. Anyway, of course, the big talk is Travis Kelce. Is that how you say it? Travis Kelce. And is he of the Kansas whatevers? Him and Kansas City Chiefs, him and Taylor Swift. It's the big news. Is this a real romance, or is this just a sort of, helmeted, padded kind of piece of puff? What do we think? Taylor fans, are you going to be watching? I'm going to be watching. Are you going to be? Yeah, I've gotten into the Super Bowl over recent years. Looking forward to seeing Usher's performing. It's all about the big performance. Didn't someone pull out as well? Someone was ill. Someone's going to do something, and then now they're not going to do something. Yeah, star of this year's Super Bowl halftime show is R&B legend Usher. Was it at the Super Bowl that Janet Jackson's breast popped out? I seem to remember that bit. There were no helmets there. Well, maybe there were. Okay, is the party... This is the next story. Is the party over for Soho House? I'll meet you at Soho House. It's got a lovely pool. Soho House. Members' house. Okay, so it looks like the once exclusive network of clubs is going to go... It could go the route of WeWork. The once exclusive network of clubs has been accused of getting too big for those chattery watteries. I remember Soho House when it was just a green door, literally, in Soho. Was it on Frith Street? And I remember my only experience of it was usually you'd get an interview with some major celeb when we were working for WWEN, Worldwide Entertainment News. And they'd go down Soho House and go to the 6th floor and say on the and you'd go in, and I'd always be shitting myself because I don't come from that world. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm here to see, I don't know, what's his name? Not Bryan Cranston, but what's the name? Bill whoever. Bill Nye. I remember doing Bill Nye. And he said, go up to the 6th floor. I'll be like, on the camera and all this kind of thing. You go, and it's just like, and everyone sort of says, every lover kind of goes, oh, no, it's really nice. It's really exclusive. It's really nice. You can just sort of sit and not be bothered. By what? Yourself? Bothered by you? Bothered by who? Bothered by your own reflection. Anyway, this is the story that someone in the city is shorting the hell out of Soho House. There are Soho Houses everywhere. It's a bit like the Ivy. Now there are Ivies everywhere. It's like everything. You can't just have one thing. So this exclusive members club is no longer so exclusive because everyone can get a little membership, sit by a pool, and go. Anyway, so it could be closing. In other news, at the bottom there, which I've just clipped off, London Club for High Flying Women shuts due to a lack of interest. I think the days of the members club is over. Don't you? It's okay. Where will you be? 6th floor. I'll be behind one of those chairs. Lovely cocktails. If you're into that wankiness, I mean, I know Lee and Nads love all that stuff. They don't love that aspect of it. But yeah, it's a nice bolt hole. But I think the thing it used to be has gone. Hi, Al-Zaran. You must know a few Soho houses. What's next? Sorry. All right, that's that. I didn't think I'd bring this in. Oh, look, there's Mickey Boy, Mickey Jagger. Got to BB, Ekin-Su. Whatever happened to Ekin-Su? Ekin-Su. She's going to be in Big Brother. Love Island winner signs up for celeb reboot after Davide split. For any of you Love Island fans, that's Ekin-Su. That could be interesting. Okay, here's my next rant. Golf. Who hates golf? Oh, I tell you what, golf is a real problem for me. I was talking to one of the girls the other day about skiing, and we have an almost uncontrolled. We came out in hives talking about skiing, and I have the same problem with golf. Now, I think it's about a diminished sense of masculinity. I remember being humiliated by an ex-girlfriend's father on the golf course so badly. And I remember as a child, I've told the story, going with my uncle and thinking that when someone was looking for their lost golf ball, I went over and went, is this yours? And as I picked it up, they all looked like they wanted to shoot me. I didn't realize you didn't pick up balls. I didn't realize that if you lost a ball, you drop a ball. I didn't realize if you drop a ball, it's in a shot. All that. Golf. And the problem I have with golf is it's part of that, what I call that sort of Guy Ritchie kind of, mock me type thing. It's like, unless you go on the golf course, you're not a real man. But you're still a man who's kind of a touch in your inner self. What's your handicap? I don't know. I just can't hit the fucking ball. I can hit the ball, but it goes in the wrong direction. If I was invited to a golfing sort of, I don't know, get together, I'd take everyone's teeth out. Thanks, Rick. I love it when someone else says what I'm feeling. I'm just going to pop it up there. Me too. Played it once, too slow for me. I loved Robin Williams years ago. Where is that? Where is the New York Met stand-up routine? I had it on VHS. I lent it to a friend of mine at film school. And in fact, I remember him on VHS, and he never gave me it back. But he said, golf is the worst sport for cocaine addicts. What's in the hole? What's in the hole? Where is it in the hole? And also, you lose holes. You lose holes. You lose balls. Top golf is fun. Golf gives me a right pain in my shoulders, says Bellex. Played it one, yeah. Anyway, this is Harry Styles standing and looking like everything I hate about golf. There, if I'm honest, it's like, and it's the way they go. Which one? What's your, not only what's your handicap, but it's like, what are you gonna do? Four iron, wedge, a 3 chip, a 2 putt, a putt. I'm not. That said, I was quite good at the putting. I could work that out. I, in the end, just wanted to be a caddy. I just wanted to be the one that just carried stuff around, like a gimp. The caddy is like the golfer's gimp. Sorry to any caddies out there. I'm sure it's far more. You're choosing the woods. Can't see the wood for the trees. Oh, there's nothing more depressing than not being able to get your ball go. You could just get crazy golf. Love it. Anyway, Harry Styles from 1D to 1T. Oh no, but look at the price of this golf club. Forget Soho House. This is a £92,000 a year golf club. He's got to love his golf, but he's got to wear their jumpers. That's the deal. Crikey. So I don't know if you remember a while back, I said they couldn't find any virgins in the country for a new show. They found them. Don't ask me how, but they found them. Sex pros to bed virgins. Oh my God, we started a show last night. Has anyone seen it? From couple to throuple. We're going to do a whole How to Stay Married about it. There's so much there. I didn't realise how complicated it all was. From couple to throuple. I just love saying throuple. Or quadruple. Okay, so they found, brilliantly, Channel 4. Now, this is the line that makes me laugh. So virgins will make love for the first time under the guidance of sexperts in a new TV series set on a tropical island. It's always got to be on a tropical island. I mean, I think the idea is that the tropicality of it all gets your juices going. I find it rather intimidating. It's like the most elaborate stage to perform on. The Channel 4 show is called, rather imaginatively, Virgin Island, like the Virgin Isles. Did you get it? It's clever. So they're getting virgins, they're putting them on an island, the Virgin Islands, and then they're going to say, don't become virgins. And then they fly them off to another island called the Isle of Wight. The Channel 4 show called Virgin Island will see a group of men and women brought together in their erotic awakening. Listen to this, a TV insider. So no one's willing to put their name to this statement. I love this. Who are these TV insiders? Who are they? They never want to put their name to these incredibly revealing comments. This is what the TV insider said. The TV insider said, there's never been a TV show that pushes the boundaries quite like this and probably never will be again. No shit, Sherlock. You're making people have sex with each other. The next thing to do is make people kill each other. That's it. Of course, there hasn't been a show like this. I thought there wasn't going to be a show like this. What I want to know is, how's that story changed? Where did they suddenly find all their virgins? Also, hang on a minute. Let's just go back to this for a second. How do you verify? How do you do a due diligence? How do you verify they are virgins? That hasn't been asked. Do you send it? What do you send in? Do you say, yeah, I'm a virgin? Do you just say it? Do they ask you lots of complex questions about sex? And if you look perplexed, they know. They go, penis. And you go, what's that? Knickers. They go, huh? How do you prove you're a virgin? I don't know. This is a funny one. Silent man is a spoilt brat, says his brother. This is a man who keeps getting arrested for standing in the road stopping traffic. He won't say anything. He gets arrested, goes to either a cell, a prison, is fed, it then comes out, stands in front of cars again, says nothing, and is arrested again. But his brother says the silent man is just a spoilt brat. Let's have a look. Last night. So they obviously talked to him last night. What night? Friday night. So this man's brother last night was talking to the Sun. And he said, his brother John, he said, it's just a ploy to get free meals. He's not really mute. He never stops fucking talking. He doesn't say fucking, but I would say that. It's quite simple, really. He's a spoilt brat. There's nothing like a protest going on. He just does it to have a comfy life having food in prison. So if you see a man just standing there saying nothing, just know he's hungry. Cream crackers! Ex-minister's extraordinary rant over cook. This man, you know how you can have a bad day? I mean, okay, it's not wise that Domino's is making pizzas cookie dough with a cream egg in it. cookie dough with a chocolate egg in it. I mean, that's wrong, but also so bloody right. It's wrong. It's like sanctioned crack, isn't it? In a cookie dough. Anyway, former minister Lord Bethell, who was at the Department of Health and Social Care, the chap on the bottom right there, went apoplectic. He went nuts on Twitter, X, and he published images of it. He went mental. He went crazy, and then he published all of the images of the people on the chief executive board of the company, saying you will never work again. I mean, I think he might be on the keto diet. I think he might be a bit hungry. I think this poor chap. His intervention came after the Domino pizza chain joined forces with the confectionery giant to produce a cream egg encased in a chocolate chip cookie. Would you have it? Let's get Nadia to make her version of one. It's just a bit of Easter, but it's dangerous. He's nuts. I still haven't got the answer. Do nuts have nuts? This is good. Prosthetic device opens the way to restoring warmth of touch to amputees. This is amazing. The first prosthetic limb that allows the wearer to sense temperature and feel warmth has been created. It's called the Mini Touch device. It allows amputees to sense temperature by transmitting thermal information from the fingertip of the prosthetic hand to the wearer's residual. Amazing technology, that, isn't it? Amazing. Here's some advice: ditch the brolly and get wet. So if you're I don't know if one should actively be encouraging this, but this is getting drenched in a thunderstorm. Apparently, could make it much safer for you. It could be a lifesaver if lightning strikes. It's sort of researchers have subjected 3D models of a human head to the equivalent of a direct lightning strike, revealing that they experience less damage if wet. So if there's a thunderstorm and you're out and you're frightened, get wet first, because then if you're hit, it won't be as bad. Curious bit of info there. Quidditch meets Robot Wars. I worked on Robot Wars years ago. What happened to Robot Wars? Did they run out of kind of strange people who wanted to make them? Anyway, this is Quidditch, but with drones. Sounds effing dangerous and really complicated. And I don't know, are there any kind of droney kind of people here? People who drone on? Last summer, Sarah Lockley and Peter Overton were at a campsite in the south of France with their young son. We looked down the itinerary for the day, and one of the things was done, soccer, never heard of it, was drone soccer, never heard of it, never seen it. So we thought we'd pop along. Drone soccer. So look, I've got a little kind of diagram here. Look. So matches consist of 2 or 3 sets. One member of each team plays as a striker. Points rewarded only. Oh my God. Good God, drones. I find them so intimidating. Anyone bald? Baldies are number one love gods. Forget Brad. It's all about Jason Statham. Jason Statham's don't fuck with a partner. I want to watch Sexy Beast again. I know a man who knows a man who knows a man. You know that, man. But this is the news that baldies are number one love gods. Slapheads, Daily Star. Slapheads like Jason Statham, and the baldy man are irresistible to women, apparently. So there you go. Let's all smell like Grandad. We don't want to all smell like all granddads. We really don't. I think they mean the nice end of Grandad. And I mean, that sounds even worse. My granddad used to use Old Spice. I don't remember the bottles looking like this, though. I remember the ship. Do you remember the ship? I remember my granddad used to do that. He used to have an electric razor. He had that really dark stubble. You know the stubble that isn't stubble? I remember I'd stand on a box next to him when he was doing his shave. And I remember him looking at me like this. I was the most ADHD irritating little fucker on the planet. And he'd be looking at me like, how much closer are you going to get? And I'd be like, really close. And what was amazing was, and I've never had it. I've never really matured. I've never kind of entered puberty even. But it was so dark that, do you remember Desperate Dan? There was a darkness under the skin. And I would look at his chin and I'd think, wow, all those bristles are already there. They're not growing. They're all under the skin. And they just come out. Anyway, then he'd put Old Spice on. And it would be my present for him every year. I'd rush to Boots with a £5 and get him some Old Spice. I'd say, Nan, what do I get, Dad? And she said, Old Spice. And I knew what she meant. Rave in the Nave. Disco at Canterbury Cathedral puts Anglicans in a spin. Silent disco in Canterbury Cathedral. I'd go. This reminded me, let me just find the headline again. I like that, Rave in the Nave. From South London's Ministry of Sound to Ibiza's super club Pasha, now England's oldest cathedral is about to join the list. A silent disco. I like that. Silent. Apparently, what I've heard from people who go to silent discos is that if you take your thing off and you just listen to the weird shuffling of feet, a lot of people are farting. Apparently, in case you didn't know that. This put me in mind of. I graduated. It was really, really sensational place. I mean, obviously, Canterbury University wasn't in any way one of those top kind of unis, but the graduation in Canterbury was great. You felt like, oh yes, I've arrived. So raving there. This reminded me, and I'm going to share a really naughty detail from my past. I remember taking watching Orbital at the Royal Albert Hall. There's nothing weirder than being somewhere like the Royal Albert Hall off your tits. Really weird. Anyway, I'd go. Look at that, Canterbury Cathedral. I love this next headline. Yeah, it's Country Pumpkins, silent discos. They're great, but just listen for the fun. Just stand at the edge, take your headphones off and listen. This is a great headline, this one. Kim Jong-un, tyrants in nice pants. Madcap dictator Kim Jong-un blew £122,000 on sexy undies. There's a kind of more sinister detail to this because I didn't realise he has a group of women called the Pleasure Squad. So what seems like quite a fun headline is actually pretty hideous. What is that, guys? Anyone got a clue? Chocolate croissant, perhaps? Nora Doyle, fart fest. Anyone got an idea what that is? If you're listening on podcast, you haven't got a clue what I'm talking about. But I'm basically looking at something that could be it looks like a sort of, I don't know, a chocolate croissant or I don't know, something like that. You're absolutely right. Who said that? Creatorholic. This is a turtle. Look at that. It's a turtle. A carnivorous turtle with a bite strong enough to break a child's arm was found at a British beauty spot. Someone who owned him dumped him. Look at his little nostrils. Look at his little nostrils. He's a good sniffer. Bless him. This is great. Do you know what this is? This is the birthday cake that Damien Hirst gave his girlfriend. A baby-shaped cake of her baby inside her. Wow. I don't know what part of it I'd want to eat. I love this photo. I feel for the fish. I mean, obviously, I'm not happy about the fish. I mean, the problem with all of this is if you delve deep enough into this, there's animal cruelty in animals, isn't there? It's just awful. I don't know how to cope with any of it. It's just not like the Disney movies. See, in the Disney movies, he'd take that in his mouth. The fish would open its eye and go, "Hello, get me out here," and it would jump out and it would sing a song. But not this one. That one's going down his gullet. Quite an astonishing. It's like a baseball mitt, isn't it? Anglo-Saxon pennies buried at 1066 could fetch £108,000. So, just think all the way back then, someone who'd fired an arrow was probably like, "Where did I put my bloody wallet?" And now someone's got it, and there you are. And finally, there's me in another life. I just love this image. This is a nomadic Mongolian eagle hunter. Wow. I mean, he looks better than an action figure. I just love him. The animal kingdom is a brutal place. And finally, this is it's amazing what you get used to. This is an image of ominous sky clouds, clouds in the sky from fires in Chile, where awful fires have been running out of control. Well, there you go, guys. I think it got a little bit more lighter-hearted, didn't it? So, guys, have a lovely day. I'm about to say go and check out the Curly Cooks, but they're not here. Listen. That is manna from heaven. Anyway. I've just got a text from Nanny Di. Anyway, see you all later. Members Live with Nanny Di at some point. Curly Cooks. Link will be beneath this when this is uploaded. Go to the description box. A lot of people find it often quite hard. If you're watching this full screen, you won't see what I'm talking about. And if you're watching it on telly, you won't see what I'm talking about either. But when you go, beneath, if you've got the live chat, beneath this, there should be a little description box. You click more, you click drop down, and then you'll see the link once it's uploaded. Anyway, that was fun. Thanks, guys. Had a laugh with you all. Thanks for all your contributions too. Have a lovely Saturday.